So let's get started with the, here's my guide, with the build guide. This is what we're going to be starting with. When you have a class and somebody says, hey, I'm interested in learning more about the business, then you're going to sit down, you're going to have a business overview with them, and you're going to do the build guide. But in order for you to do that overview with them, you need to, it's hard to ask somebody else to do what you've never done yourself. So you need to do this, and this is what we will do. So this is going to be our step one for ourselves and for any builder who comes our way. The reason that we have a system is because it makes us duplicable. It's really hard to create a business from scratch for every new person that comes down the pipe. It doesn't mean that everybody's going to do it exactly the same every single time, but it means that we have a system to run with and to pass on to one another. So when somebody says, hey, I want to do this, I can give them some real practical tools and get them started. Because as many of us have talked about, one of the most important things you can have in your business is momentum. It takes the most energy just to get the ball rolling, just to push the stone down the mountain. But once it's rolling, it's a lot easier to maintain it. And if you need to redirect it, if you need to add something new, do something different, that's great, but it takes the most energy just to get the business started, just to get the ball rolling. And so that is our goal with the build guide, is to get some momentum started. It also lays the foundation for a proper business. It's really important to do things like understand what your goals are and why you want to do the business. Because honestly, if you don't have a real clear yes as to why you're doing it, the first time you experience some significant resistance or even just a slight wind of hesitation or rejection, it's really easy to fall off track and go, this is too hard, this is too challenging, I don't want to overcome these hiccups. So understanding why you're doing it is really important. So if you've got the build guide, we're just going to go step by step through this for you so that you can also do this for other people. If you look on the launch guide, which is the other paper that you need to have handy for tonight, in the very front cover, right here, we are looking at the prepare section. So PIPES is the acronym, is that the right word, that we use to say what our activities are for building a business. The first is prepare, the second is invite, present, enroll, support. So tonight we are primarily going to be talking about prepare. This is laying the foundations for what we want to do so that we have success. And even if you have been in this business for 3 or 4 years, if you have a great team already, I still encourage you to start over from the beginning. Make sure that your foundation is stable so that when you create momentum, the foundation of the building you're building will be able to hold the weight of it. In architecture, if you don't have a steady foundation, a tree root grows up, or there's some serious wind, there's bad weather, and the whole thing just comes tumbling down. But if you have built a strong foundation from the beginning, then you can weather the storms and continue to have something sturdy when it's all over. So we want to build a foundation for a successful business, and so we're going to start with preparing. The very first step in the prepare box is the build guide. And it says, I did the first 3 steps in the build guide. So we're going to start with going over those 3 steps. The first bit of the build guide is, the difference between creating buckets and pipelines. Buckets are exchanging hours for cash. I go and I work 3 hours, I get paid a certain amount per hour, and that's my wage. Or I have a salary and it requires I work 40 hours a week with X number of benefits. But it all requires that you show up for work. Not that doTERRA means you don't show up for work, but you're always exchanging buckets for dollars. When you build a pipeline, you create a residual income where money is coming in whether you are engaged in the process or not. So doTERRA is buckets in the Fast Start bonuses is kind of like a bucket, because when I sign somebody up, I get a percentage of what they purchase. But a Fast Start bonus is also a pipeline, because I get a lot of Fast Start bonuses and I don't even know who signed up because they go layers down. So the first page is just about buckets and pipelines. If you've been on a build guide call before, you've heard all that. And it goes over what the pay structure is, how you can get paid from doTERRA. If you've never heard that, If you've never gone through the first couple of pages of the Build Guide, please contact the person who enrolled you, send me an email, and we would love to go over that information with you. Okay, so the first 3 steps are the one that we are going to set your goal. And the goal is, how quickly do you want to be elite? The intention of this class is that you could reach elite by the end of March. That's about 6 weeks away. So if you are ready to go, you're ready to run, then the goal of this class is that we will give you every step to reach elite 6 weeks from now. Also, we're giving you a prototype so that when you have a new builder, you can help your builder reach elite in 6 weeks if they want to go that fast. So I'm elite rank. Now, elite rank is $3,000 in overall volume. I'm elite rank in 90 days, 30 days, 14 days, whatever it may be. Now, once you have your goal, step 1 is to reach out to the people that you know, because we buy from those that we know, like, and trust. We're going to create a names list. Now, if you've heard the names list, this is a great vision for why to create a names list. And to be honest, I was kind of hesitant about doing it at first because I thought, yeah, I know who I know. I'll reach out to those people. And it seemed like a little bit of an unnecessary step, to be quite honest. But I encourage you to reconsider if that is where you're coming from, because I actually sat down with a friend of mine and we both did a names list together not so long ago. And I was so surprised by how many people it just had never occurred to me to connect with. Now, who likes to bug their friends and family? Me neither. Part of the reason in creating a names list is to let people know who you know that you're doing this as a business. And I want to give you a really powerful reason why. So if people don't know that you're doing it as a business, then when they have a need and for essential oils, for natural solutions, to take their own healthcare in their hands, then there's a vacuum that's created, and they're going to go to the first person that they find who can tell them about essential oils, even if they would rather work with you. For example, when I started doing doTERRA as a business, I didn't talk to my friends and family because I didn't want to bother them. I didn't want them to feel pressured or whatever. I just started with really small groups of people. And in that interim, my best childhood friend signed up with somebody else doing doTERRA. She's now a diamond in doTERRA. Great for her. How fun would it have been to work together and do it as a team? Then probably 2 years later, I ran into another good friend of mine, and she says to me, "Oh, I wish I had known you were doing doTERRA. I just signed up with somebody else just to get them off my back." And she loves doTERRA. She loves oil. She's looking to get started in the business, and she would have done it with me if she had just known that I did it. I'm not saying I needed to pressure these people or bother them if they weren't interested, but just make the message known. There's if you know me, you know I love super uber healthy food, and there's a new restaurant coming within walking distance of my house. I'm in big trouble, called Grab a Green, and it has been under construction for months. So if you're hesitant at all to talk to the people that you know because you say, I'm new to oils, all I know is that lavender will help you sleep, or On Guard will help your immune system. Is everybody doing okay with the audio? Everybody's okay. I think it's a little up and down. Okay, let's see if I can move it closer to me at all. If that'll help. Okay, keep me posted on the chat screen if we're having a hard time. Okay, so there's this restaurant called Grab a Green. It's coming into my neighborhood, and it's been under construction for months, and there's nothing there inside the building. But just the fact that the sign is up, my interest is piqued, and I am taking notes. Even though it might be months before I actually walk in the door, I can see the sign when I drive by. So when you let people know that you're doing doTERRA as a business, you might feel like, I don't know what to offer you. I'm new to oils. I have questions. I don't have any idea what I'm doing. That's okay. At least they see the sign on the window and they know that you're doing it. And so when you're ready to get started, when they're ready to do it as a business, they know where to go. So creating a names list. All you want to do when you create a names list is you want to dump names out of your head onto a piece of paper. There's a great memory jogger called, if you just Google Memory Jogger by Rodan and Fields, that's a really fabulous one just to trigger your brain to think of names. Now, you cannot multitask very well when you're doing name dumping. So when you're doing a memory jogger and you're making your names list, don't filter out any names. All I want you to do is dump names on a piece of paper. And so instead of thinking, okay, like the memory jogger is accountant or banker or people with red hair, or just phrases to get you thinking about people that you know. It's easy to think, oh, I have an accountant, but they would never like essential oils, and just skip over their name in my head and keep going on. And when I was working on my names list, it was really interesting when I would just dump the name out of my head, even if I didn't think they would ever talk to me or want anything to do with essential oils, how often just the act of writing that name on a piece of paper would trigger me to think about somebody else who I would love to work with or who would love essential oils. So when you're making your names list, don't filter out any names. All I want you to do is dump the names on a piece of paper. And you keep on going until your brain is just empty of names. And once, it's kind of like Legos. If you have little kids who like Legos, if you played Legos as a child, what do you start with when you play Legos? You just dump the box over and you see what all the pieces are. And once you have all the pieces and the instruction manual, then you start putting them all together piece by piece. So making a names list, we're just going to dump out the Lego box and see what's on the table. Don't have to filter them out. Now, after we've made your names list, then we're going to filter them out into, this would be a great customer. This would be somebody who might be willing to host a class with me. This is somebody that I would love to build with. So if you are ready to just sit down and run right away with your business, when you filter out your names, you want to have a list of who would I love to do this business with, who is capable of doing this as a business, who is competent, and who would I just love to work with. Because the truth of the matter is most of my week and working hours are spent with people that I like, fortunately. But I spend a lot of time with the people on my team. And would it be lovely or not so much lovely if I couldn't stand these people? And you get to pick your business partners. And so the people that you spend time with and that you engage. So if you want to get started quickly, when you do your names list, the first thing that you want to look for is, who do I want to do business with? By show of hands, can I get a, there's a way to, of course, I don't know how to do it. Tanya, you did it earlier. Maybe just comment in the comment box. If you already have a names list that you've done, will you just comment in the comment box that yes, you already have a names list? And that will help me have a gauge of where we are and how to use the rest of this time. So if we're looking at the launch guide, Beth, Dana, Erin, fabulous. The next step is that I've attended a live or watched an online launch training. So that's what you're doing right now. So you can check that box off. That's going to be going on for the next 6 weeks. And the goal when you're attending a launch guide and when you are helping other people launch is that somebody's going to walk down the path with you. So yes, it's great to get lots of information. I've watched tons of videos online, but the goal of launching somebody is to just walk down the path with them. So having a weekly mentoring call, we'll talk more about that later. Just somebody to say, what's the next step? Help me take the next step. So that is the goal of this launch guide, is we're just going to one step at a time walk down this path together. What questions do we have so far in the comment box? Anybody? No? Okay. So when we're in the launch guide, after we've done our names list, we're going to prioritize our names. That's actually step 4. If that feels overwhelming for you for this week, I just want you to make a names list. So it looks like a few of you have a names list and some of you don't. If you've already had a names list and you would like to expand it, this is a great week to do that. The only assignment from week 1 will be to make your names list and to prioritize your name if you are ready to do that. Now, once you have a names list, you want to set your goals and identify why. So we talked a little bit about why you want to do this as a business. And I would love your feedback for those of you who are watching this live. You could comment why you're doing doTERRA as a business. I would love to hear from you. And while you're doing that, my comment to you about your why, that's first and foundational. That is the foundation of your business, is why you're doing this. Once you have your why, then your next step is to have a plan. Your plan is built on top of your why. A plan without a why is not going to go very far. Now, your why is going to change over time. So my why in the beginning was I want to have a full-time income. My why now is very different. My why now is because I have some financial and time freedom. And like I said in the beginning, it's not okay that just I have it. I know that it is attainable for anybody who wants to get it, and I want to help people get what they want. Great comments so far on what your why is. Part of your why, also consider what the financial why, or your financial goal is. So is there a certain amount of money that you're realistically looking to make in the next 60 days? I want another full-time paycheck so I have more options for my family. Awesome. I appreciate that a lot, Jenny. So tell me what you know about PIPES. Retirement supplemental income. Fabulous, Sue. Great point. So when I say the word PIPES, tell me what that means to you. PIPES are the prepare, invite, present, enroll, and support. How does PIPES play out in your day-to-day life? Steps to grow your business, building a business so that it runs on itself at some point. Yes, absolutely. And one of the things I love about doTERRA is that I have helped individually and as a team teach about 850 people, or how many people on my team, how to use essential oils. And they buy essential oils on a monthly basis, whether I talk to them or not. There are people on my team that, frankly, I have never even met. And they buy essential oils every month. And I get paid on those purchases every month, even though I have never met or even had a conversation with them. Steps to keep my business on track. Absolutely. Probably 80% of your time in the beginning will be spent on IPE, which is invite, present, and enroll. So we're going to spend a lot of our time on that. Okay. Now, if you turn to page 7 in your launch guide, now we're going to go over your Elite Planner. Give others hope and health and healing. Absolutely, Elizabeth. All right, so Elite Planner, we're just going to fill this out. Now remember that we're going to do, before we do this, we're going to do our why, because a plan is built on top of your why. A plan without a why will not sustain itself. So Elite is $3,000 a month in sales. An Elite plan, for example, is to have, I'm right here on this page, page 7. An Elite plan, for example, is to have 3 classes with 5+ enrollments for each class, with 100 PV for class, or 15 one-on-ones that have an average of 200 PV each. That might sound like a lot, but in a 1-month period, if you're prepared and you've gotten that momentum started, that's not a ton. Creating the momentum for that to happen is the bulk of the work. Once that's done, then you just keep the ball rolling. Because when you enroll somebody, you're going to ask somebody 3 questions. I know so many of you have heard this before, but when I enroll someone, I'm asking them 3 questions. And sometimes when I remember, I say at the beginning of class, okay, I'm so glad you're here. My intention is for you to learn how to use essential oils for yourself, to be empowered for your health care. I'm going to teach you about essential oils, and at the end of the class, I'm going to ask you 3 questions. You can say what's right for you, and I will smile and thank you and be so glad that you came, no matter what you say. My 3 questions are going to be, what essential oils would you like to get started with in your home? Would you be interested in hosting a class to share essential oils with others? Would you be interested in hearing more about the business? I don't know if I don't ask, and I know some of you may be thinking hey, I could do what you're doing. And so I'd love to talk to you about it if that's something that you're interested in. That's all I say. I teach the class. We have lots of Q&A. People enroll. And then when they enroll, I intentionally ask them each of those 3 questions, just like I said I would. If they say they want to host a class, then I'll give them a tic-tac-toe card, which is a hostess reward card. And I will book a class date on my calendar at that moment in time. I'll follow up with them. I'll teach them how to have a successful class, and we'll have a class. And then from that class reaches classes, and that classes reaches classes. And then when people who schedule a build guide want to have a build guide, then we go forward from there. That is what creates the momentum going. So just getting the momentum going forward is the biggest part of the work. Once that's happened, then you just keep the cycle going. I was watching another elite training. I still don't think I said that right, but I think you got what I meant. And one of the things they talked about that was really helpful was this. So to show up, so if you're here tonight, you showed up. It takes courage, and I applaud you for showing up, especially those who have heard this over and over again and maybe a little bit discouraged in your business. I applaud you for showing up. It takes courage to show up over and over and over again. And my intention in doing this is that whether you are brand new or whether you are relaunching your business, that you will have the tools to reach elite in a short period of time successfully and to replicate yourself with others. When you show up, it builds your belief. Because when you show up around other people who have a belief, it helps fuel your belief. When your belief grows, your actions increase. When your actions produce results, your belief increases and the cycle is strengthened. So just by doing this elite training together, you showed up. That takes courage. Being around other people who are also experiencing financial freedom, who are getting their own goals, who are seeing the momentum created, who are seeing the fruit of their labor, that creates belief for you. Because if it's possible for others, then it's possible for you. When you have belief, then you take action. It's hard to take action if you don't believe that it could really happen. But when you take action and then you have results, your belief is strengthened and you show up again. So it's a really great cycle, and I applaud you for showing up. I hope that your belief is strengthened by doing this tonight, that the belief fuels you to take action, and that your action will produce results, which therefore increase your belief, and the cycle continues. So whether you are brand new or you've been doing this for a while, one of the things I was encouraged about is that we never outgrow our need to learn or our need to launch ourselves well and launch others well. So whether this is your first class or your 400th class, I applaud you for coming to learn well for yourself and for others. If you will please comment in the comment box and tell me what questions you have so far, what things are going on in your mind so far, that would be really great and helpful for me. So I know how to continue on this class in the most helpful way. Now, while you're doing that, we're going to go on to the Elite Planner. And Elite Planner is a schedule of classes and one-on-ones. So once we have made our names list, we've dumped out all our names. Once we have prioritized our names list and made our Elite Plan, we're going to do the next step, which will be week 2. So this is where we are. You can read this here. And then we're going to go into the schedule classes section. So we're just going to write down 4 classes, date, time, and location. For class 1, your upline or the DVD will teach the whole class, and you just share your story. So if all the story is that you have is, I used lavender one time and it helped me sleep. Great. There's a big difference between facts and stories. Facts give people information. Stories give people impartation. So if I tell you that essential oils are extracts from plants and they're powerful plant medicine, and they are carbon-based molecules that your body easily recognizes and responds to, that sounds interesting. Who's inspired? Probably nobody, unless you're a science nerd, which I am sometimes. If I tell you that one night 2 years ago, this is the first story that came to my mind, I was flying home at 11:30 at night from being somewhere out of town teaching classes. I land on Charlotte, North Carolina. I turn on my phone and I immediately get either a text or a phone call from my husband. It's like 11:30 at night. And my mom's picking me up from the airport. We're actually next door neighbors. I know you're jealous. It's amazing. And he says to me, hey, as soon as we have 2 children, by the way, their ages 4 and 6. He says to me, as soon as you get home, I need you to take Isaac to the ER. He's coughing really bad, and I could tell he's having a hard time breathing. And so you have that kind of mommy panic moment. And I said, okay. And it obviously wasn't bad enough that he needed to go right that second, or I'm sure my husband would have just picked up both the kids and taken them to the ER. So certainly, if you need doctors and nurses, we love doctors and nurses. My daughter and I are both alive because of emergency medical care, and my husband for that matter, and my son. We've all had major health issues. So if you need him, go for it. But obviously it wasn't that bad. And I said, okay, great. Well, I'll be there. Let's put some oils on him. Let's take him in a steam shower and give him 15 minutes, and let's just see how he does. So I get home, you know, all guns ready to fire, and we have some eucalyptus oil and probably some lavender. I don't remember exactly what I used at the time. And I start rubbing those oils on his chest. We sit in a steam shower. I can tell he relaxes quite a bit and is breathing a lot easier. I laid him in his bed and kept a close eye on him, and he slept through the night. And then we just kept a close eye on him the next couple of days. We used a lot of oils. We did everything we knew to help him get over his cough, and he was fine. And I spent $1 in essential oils. Okay, who's inspired? That's really exciting to think I have a solution to try when I have a major health issue come up. So understanding what your story is, whether it's dramatic or simple, your story is what gives people inspiration. Erin, great question. Step 3 is to get the launch guide and start going through the launch guide, which we are doing in the class. So in the build guide, you have these 3 circles. These are the first 3 steps to building your business. Step 1 is to set your goal and why you're doing this as a business. Step 2 is to just dump all the names out of your head. And then the 3rd step is to use the launch guide. So that's what we're doing. Okay, so understanding what your story is, both for your business, your product, and for your business. So I was in Colorado this weekend teaching the AromaTouch certification, and there were 2 ladies there who had been around for doTERRA for a little while, and she was just super frustrated about her business. And she was, I think she was elite maybe, and she said, I should be Premier, I just have the volume in all the wrong places, or she didn't have builders or something like that. And I said, well, what story do you tell? And she's telling me about how she loves essential oils and how they've helped her and that kind of thing. And I said, what's your business story? And then she kept talking about the product and why she loved essential oils. And I said, that's why you don't have builders, because the story that you tell is a product story. And stories replicate after themselves. So you're telling a product story so people are inspired to buy and use product. When you change your story or add to your story and you tell a business story, then people are inspired to do the business with you. So when I teach a class, when I talk to people about the opportunity with doTERRA, I tell them about the product. I tell them how it's been life-changing for me and for my family, and I tell them the business story. Sometimes I don't even tell somebody a product story at all. I start with a business story because that's where they are, and I can tell that's what their need is. And we'll talk about this when we get to the prioritized name section. But one of the fastest ways to get your business started is to land with real clarity who you want to run with and approach those people right from the beginning. So you can go to somebody, we'll talk more about this later too, but you can go to somebody that you've prioritized on your names list that you feel like, hey, I'd really love to do the business with you. You're competent, you're committed. Erin, that's a great question. Let me get right back to you. You're competent, you're committed, and I could see you doing really well with this. So you could have, for example, for your LRP 1 month, you could buy a family physician kit and have an extra diffuser and a build guide. And go to your friend and say, hey, I've been thinking about you. I'm doing this as a business. This is what's out there. I just keep thinking about you. And I'm curious if this is something that you would be interested in. Because I'm doing this to start up with. You know, I might not be making a lot of money right now, but I know people that are. I see the value in the business structure. Would you consider using these essential oils in a diffuser? Maybe I put an Essential Life book or an A to Z guide in there with them. And look through the bill guide, and let's connect again in a week and talk about this is something that you'd be interested in doing with me. Somebody who has no product knowledge at all, you could just jump straight into a business story and say, hey, I'd love to run with you. So that's a great business story to tell. Aaron's question is, how do you encourage people with a business story if you are not at a level that is story-worthy or inspiring? You borrow confidence from somebody else until you have it in yourself. I was talking to somebody this weekend, and she says to me, we were actually not even talking about our doTERRA business. We're talking about her wanting to be an integrative health practitioner maybe, or a health educator. And she said, you know, I don't have any letters after my name. Why would people listen to me? She wasn't confident in her own story, but I've known her for several years, and the information that she knows and grasps, she not only talks the talk, but she walks the walk when it comes to holistic health. I said, you know what, I have confidence in you, and I am totally assured that you would be great at doing this. And you could just tell that she was considering it, that she was open to it because I believed in her. So when you don't feel like you have a story to tell, you just borrow confidence from somebody who does have a story to tell. I love telling my best friend, her name's Catherine, she's my childhood best friend, her story. She started the business a year before I did. She jumped in with a lot of great skill. She's a diamond in doTERRA. She's making well over triple digits on a yearly basis. And I'm not, but she's my best friend. Our moms changed our diapers together, you know, and I look at her and go, well, if you can do it, I can do it. And so I borrow, when I first started in doTERRA, she was actually one of the people who trained me, and I watched her. And so I just borrowed confidence because I thought, well, I'll learn how to tell a story. But my best friend is doing this. And so you just borrow confidence from somebody who has confidence. Either you borrow their story, or you get on a 3-way call and you tell the story together. The glory of a 3-way call is never ending, because one, when you get on a call with somebody, let's say Logan, who's on this call, who we're just all intents and purposes going to say she's silver in doTERRA. So Logan and I get on a call with somebody who's brand new to doTERRA, and Logan knows this person and I don't. So I'm going to talk to this new person. We're going to talk about their health concerns, what their goals are, and I'm going to tell them why Logan is amazing and how when she got started in doTERRA, she jumped straight into the business end. She jumped in with both feet right from the beginning. She has had incredible stories. She is really well educated. She's a go-getter. You have no idea how lucky you are to be talking with Logan. So Logan's maybe not going to want to say that about herself to her friend that she knows, but I have every right to say that about her to her friend. So now her friend feels like, hey, I am in this great situation. I have somebody like Logan. I can do this. So I have imparted belief into Logan's friend. I've strengthened their relationship, and it's like a 3-way validation, or external validation is what you're looking for. So the glory of a 3-way call is great, because then I can strengthen a relationship between Logan and her new builder, and then they are well equipped to run together. Or if you're just brand new and you have no clue what to do, there are so many times during the week where I sit on a Zoom call with somebody who's like, hey, I love this. I'm ready to run. I don't know what I'm doing. And so we do it together. And I do it all for them, and then they watch. And then the next time we do it together for a little while, and then they get to the point where they do it on their own. And then I'm just watching. So when we're scheduling classes for yourself, for your new builder, you're writing your dates, your times, location. In the first class, your upline, or you use the DVD. There's not even the DVD, that's one option, but there's another option where if you go to sharesuccess.com, the entire class, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way through closing and loyalty rewards is on that class, on that website. So sharesuccess.com, on the first page, you can click on the Natural Solutions handout, and there's a link to the video. And you have to click multiple different links to watch the video. So you'll click the introduction, you'll click what's certified pure theory grade. So you click through like 5 different videos or something. And the reason it's set up that way is so that you can use that to teach the whole class if you need to, or you can use that to teach part of your class. So let's say you're kind of shaky on the CPTG part of essential oils and why that really matters to you. So you just push the button, and when you get to that part in your class, you just play that. So that's why it's divided up into different parts. Your second class, same thing. The upline or the DVD teaches the whole class. You're just sitting there. Third class, your upline is there, your DVD is there, one of the two, supporting you while you teach the class. And then the fourth class, you teach the entire class by yourself. And your upline is just there as backup. So we're going to schedule your classes, and then you're going to schedule your one-on-ones to people either who can't come to the class, people who are interested, people who you're interested in talking to the business about, and that type of a thing. So what questions do we have so far? Anybody feel free to make a comment. Is everybody tracking with me? Does anybody not have a launch guide or a build guide? If you don't, please contact me or the person who invited you to this event, and we can work on that. So once somebody signs up, we're going to use the Live Guide. The Live Guide, I've heard it said this way, is really great. The Live Guide breathes life into the lifestyle with essential oils. So when somebody gets started with essential oils, we're going to go through the Live Guide with them. That now, because they've gotten all these oils, maybe they don't know what to do with them. I'm going to do a wellness consult. I'm going to give them the Live Guide. They can watch the video online, because that again is telling stories, and stories give inspiration. Facts give information, stories give inspiration. So I'm going to inspire them and talk about, when I do a wellness consult, no joke, I will get my empty, I have like 4 or 5 floating around my house. I'll just grab whichever one is close to empty, my hand sanitizer, my hand soaps, because I make them with essential oils. I'll pull my doTERRA empty container out. I'll grab a squirt of dish soap and some essential oils, and I'll say, regular hand soap is really damaging for your skin. If I know some reasons why, maybe I'll tell them. If I don't, I'll just say, hey, essential oils are a great alternative to what you're already doing, which is washing your hands after you go to the bathroom before you make your dinner. This is how you do it. I'll sit there in front of them. I'll pour my water in. I'll squirt my soap in, some essential oils, squirt on the top. Here you go. Here's your 15-cent hand soap. How much do you spend on hand soap every day? Oh, $3.25 per bottle? That stinks. Here's a 15-cent alternative to what you're already doing. You're having a hard time sleeping. You're having some muscle pain at bedtime. Do you ever use Epsom salt in the bath? Here's some Epsom salt. Put my lavender in it, sprinkle in the bathtub. It's going to help me calm down. It's going to help my kids calm down, that kind of thing. So I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. And we only have about 5 more minutes to wrap. So if you have questions so far, I would love to hear what they are. So just in recap with step 1, if you are new, if you are working with somebody brand new, the first thing we're going to use is the build guide. If you've never gone through the build guide with somebody, please contact the person who invited you to this class or me. We'll go over why doTERRA is such a profitable business venture, especially even compared to other direct sales companies. Their compensation plan is backwards or not backwards, but flipped for most other direct sales companies. So I have charts of how when you do another direct sales company, the money that you make compared to those same amount of sales in doTERRA, you have a vastly different paycheck. Interestingly enough, I did another direct sales company for a year before I started doTERRA. It wasn't something that I was super passionate about, so to be honest, I never put as much effort or energy into it. But that said, I spent over $1,000, and I got one $50 paycheck in a year for my efforts. And that was such a bummer. And at the end of it, I didn't feel like I had anything to show for myself. When I started with essential oils, I didn't know that I was going to be doing it as a business. I just knew that I was having great success. I signed a few people up, and I had a paycheck in 10 days. Within a month, I had more paychecks from doTERRA than I had had an entire year of doing another direct sales company. And that first paycheck, honestly, is one of the most important paychecks. It might be $22, but it is the most important paycheck because all of a sudden it takes an idea and now it's real. You know, it's great to hear about how you can make money in a direct sales company, but when your first paycheck comes in the mail, you get the picture. Okay, this is the real deal. And it's just it's exciting and it's motivating. So we're going to go through the build guide. We're going to talk about the value of doTERRA, how to do it, why it's a great profitable residual income, the difference between hauling buckets and building a pipeline. And then step 2 is we're going to fill in our names list. And let me just tell you the best names list for some of, I'm not going to be able to keep them all on this paper because there's 100 names. I sat down with my friend Teresa the other day for an hour, and we both ran through our 100 names real quickly because all I want to do is dump names out of my head. And then after I do that, then I'm going to prioritize my list. So step 2 is to put your names. Let me make sure I'm saying this right. Step 2 is to fill out your names list. And then we're going to use the launch guide to launch our business. Once we have the launch guide, we're right here. We're on page 2 and 3. And we're just going to start with number 1. Number 1 is get started. You did your first 3 steps. You're doing a live or recorded launch guide training. You understand pipes. Pipes are on page 4. Prepare. So preparing means that you're going to be a product of the product. The reason partially that you're required to do a monthly loyalty rewards order is because if you don't know about essential oils, how are you going to share a story? So if I bought 10 oils one time and then I got started doing it as a business, I'm going to probably run out of stories pretty quickly. So I am going to be a product of the product. I'm going to experiment. I'm going to ask questions. Anytime I'm around groups of people using oils, I always end up learning a new way to use essential oils. And part of preparing is scheduling your pipes activities, which are inviting, presenting, enrolling, and supporting. Remember that success is scheduled. If you have a coffee date with somebody and it's on the calendar, on a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to cancel that coffee date when you wake up 30 minutes before and it's just feeling kind of inconvenient to show up? You know that somebody else is depending on you to be there, and it is probably not super likely that just for the heck of it, you're like, I don't feel so great, I'm just going to cancel it, because you respect somebody else's time and the commitment that they've made to you. When you schedule your success activities like classes, your self-development, bless you, your personal development time, then out of respect to yourself, your own time and your goals, it's a lot easier to do that when it's written down on a calendar. Even if it's, I stop doing, so one of my goals is I work some in the morning when my kids are at school, and then I usually work from 8 to 10 at night. And so my goal to myself is that I stop all business activities not a second later than 10 p.m. and I am doing personal development before I go to bed. Personal development might mean I'm taking a hot bath with lavender and Epsom salt, and I'm listening to a teaching on a podcast, whether it's business or otherwise related. It means that I'm reading a book before I go to bed. I'm spending time meditating, reading my Bible, praying, you name it. But that is scheduled. And so out of respect to myself and the time, my own goals and desires, I want to show, I want to honor that block on the calendar. So success activities are scheduled. Inviting. So part of inviting is just sharing products with people. When I was teaching this AromaTouch class this weekend, and AromaTouch is people who may or may not be attached to your particular team. But so there was a gal there, and she had a similar story to me. She said, you know, I was with this skincare company, and I just felt like I was just pushing and pushing and pushing product on people. And it just got to where I just didn't feel comfortable with it anymore. And so I walked away from a successful business because it didn't feel like it was something I could wear well. And she said, then I got into essential oils, and I just started telling people about them. And I've never felt like I was selling or pushing. I more feel like I'm sharing something with people. So part of inviting is simply sharing oils with people. If you're on our Essential Health page, you saw my hopefully humorous story about being on an airplane last night. And I was sharing oils by using them myself. I had the worst allergy attack that I've had probably in 20 years, and my face was a fountain for hours all day long yesterday. Of course, I thought I had everything I needed oils wise and health wise, and I'm on a trip and I just didn't have my regular goodies. I could have loved somebody to give me a Tri-Ease while I was out yesterday. Anyway, so part of inviting was just using product in front of somebody. And so I was rubbing Breathe and lavender on my face every 30 minutes because it was just such an intense allergy attack. And then she started asking me about essential oils. I pulled out my sample case and just shared oils with her. So presenting is both presenting the product and the business opportunity, and attending presentations with guests. So part of presenting, it is you talking, it is you teaching a class, but it's also you learning how to present. So my friend Erin, she's on this call, we were talking the other week, or last week, and she was telling me about somebody else in a completely different team from her who was having an essential oil class in her area. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. If there's any way you can go to that class, because you're going to get to learn somebody teaching a class from a totally different perspective with a different background, different stories. I have been so thankful to be able to go to other people's classes and learn how people do things differently. And just by watching, it's either solidified how I want to do something, or it's just taught me a new skill. So sometimes I walk away going, I like the way I do it better. I feel great about what I'm doing. And sometimes I walk away going, oh, that was a fabulous idea, or I love the way you phrased that. So one of my side hobbies is I like to go to other people's direct sales company presentations outside of doTERRA as well, and also outside of doTERRA. One of the ways I have really grown in my closing ability was I have a good friend who does Norwex, and I went to a presentation. I thought she was fantastic in the way that she did a presentation, and I learned a lot from her. I went to a Tupperware presentation some time ago, and I thought, I'm good with what I'm doing. But I always learn something when I do that. So for me, that is part of presenting, is learning how to present. There's a good book I was just recommended called Talk, Not Teach. I might have to get back to you on that. But all that to say, part of my presenting is learning how to present. Enroll means that, one, I'm just enrolling a new member, somebody who wants to get started with oils for the first time, and also enrolling people in a loyalty or rewards program. Somebody who's bought a kit recently, who's bought a kit a long time ago, and learning that loyalty or rewards is the smartest way to buy. It's cheaper than wholesale. It enables them to get a paycheck, so on and so forth. I'm enrolling people when they commit to share and host a class, because I'm enrolling them into an activity. And I'm enrolling somebody when I talk to them about the business opportunity and doing the business with me. Supporting is simply that I'm continuing to educate customers. Jenny, who is on this call, was probably the first one who said this to me, and I always appreciated it. She said, I tell people that I basically get paid from doTERRA to be an educator. She didn't say exactly like that. Jenny, you can correct me on the exact verbiage that you use. She said, yes, I do get paid when you buy product from me, but my primary paycheck is I'm paid by doTERRA to be an educator. And honestly, that's what I tell people. Said my job with doTERRA is to be an educator. I teach people how to use essential oils for their own health and wellness. And then I do get paid when they purchase products. But the big part of my job is teaching and being an educator. So part of being an educator is, if you haven't, at some point you might want to create a Facebook group. Where I'll just post things like, hey, I am on an airplane today. I will not get on an airplane without peppermint and On Guard beadlets. What do you do like to travel with? I just share stories. You know what? I bought Majoram. I can't even tell you how many years ago. And I've had it, and I've probably used it 3 times because I just was comfortable using all my other oils. And then during November, there was a buy one, get one, and you could get a bunch of Majoram. And so all these people bought Majoram, and I had no idea how to use it. And so even though I've had it for years, so part of supporting is that last November, I finally learned how to use Majoram. Guess what? It's one of my favorite new oils. It is an antispasmodic and a sedative at the same time. Do you know how many people that is like a great coughing oil? But I've never thought of it as an oil for respiratory, but fabulous for little kids who are coughing in the middle of the night, for grown-ups who are coughing in the middle of the night, for joint pain. I just was so excited about it. So that's part of supporting. So that is PIPES: preparing, inviting, presenting, enrolling, and supporting. Certainly part of supporting is also nurturing relationships, recognizing success for you and your team, and we'll continue to talk more about these things. I loved having you here tonight. Thank you so much for joining. I would really appreciate your feedback on the Elite Launch Facebook group. If you're not on that, please shoot me a message or the person who invited you to this class. And we look forward to seeing you a week from today. Your assignment between now and next Monday is, if you have not already, make a names list. If you have a basic names list, and I don't mean 6 months ago make a names list, but if you've not made a names list recently, make a names list and just dump names. If you've already done one recently, then your assignment is also to prioritize those. Particularly, you're looking for people who you would like to talk to about doing a business with. You're also going to filter that names list and say, who would like to share oils possibly? Who would be a great customer? And then next week, we're going to talk about inviting and getting your classes live and scheduled. So if you have any other questions, please let me know. I really look forward to seeing you next Monday night. Please come with your names list, prioritized if possible, and we will go on to step 2. All the best. Have a good night. Bye.